Hello and welcome to our informational session on NAU's Doctor of Education program. I'm Lauren Maley, Marketing Content Specialist at NAU, and today we join Dr. Moore, who is National American University's Associate Provost and Graduate Dean. We are also fortunate to have as our special guest Erin Paxton, who is NAU's Executive Director of Enrollment. A few reminders before we get started. First off, you are all on mute to reduce background noise, but we want to encourage you to participate and ask questions. So you'll see along the bottom of your screen, there's a question and answer, as well as a chat option. As you have questions, you can put them in there, and at the end of the webinar, we'll answer those for you. Second, we are recording this, so you will be able to get a copy of that recording, including the slides, later on. And with that, I'll turn it over to Dr. Moore.
Okay, thank you, Lauren. Hello, everyone. Welcome to our webinar today. We are honored to have Erin Paxton with us here today. Erin has been with National American University for quite some time. National American University has been in existence for more than 78 years. So, Erin, if you would, go ahead and share with our group today a bit more about yourself and a bit more about National American University's mission, history, and values, if you don't mind. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Moore. It's a pleasure to be with you all today. Excited to, relaunch this EDD program with some new specializations and tell you a little bit more about those. NAU is near and dear to me. I've been with the university for a little over 10 years, always serving in admissions roles throughout the university. What makes NAU special from a lot of other institutions out there is the mission of the university and our true focus on helping students grow, our caring and supportive environment, and always looking for avenues to help students find that next chapter in their life. It starts with great faculty and staff and ends in graduating students with degrees that will take them out into the career field of their choosing and being successful. Anything to add, Dr. Moore?
Oh, I think so. In terms of the mission, National American University has been consistent with their mission over, the 78 years of existence. And exactly like you said, they've been consistent in terms of making sure that they provide the very best educational opportunities for students for over 7 decades, if you can imagine that. So long before you and I came around, right, Erin?
Yeah, that's right.
a long time before. So National American University has been at this for a very long time. They've been consistent, and we're just very proud to be a part of this great university. So there's always a question in terms of education and academics and institutional value of the EDD program. On the next slide, you'll see some information on upward mobility. The main point of this slide, and probably the main takeaway, is to really demonstrate the potential earning differential of individuals who earn an associate's degree. Well, if you get to the bottom, you're looking at a person who has not earned their high school degree yet. And then it goes up to earning high school diploma and on up the scale to the doctorate degree. And the differential in terms of what a person could actually earn. And this is on, if you can believe it, on a weekly basis. So very interesting information here that we wanted to share with you. So when we go to the next slide, we consider what rewarding careers are out there with these high salaries that we're talking about. Again, this slide speaks to the high salaries in primarily the environment of academics. It demonstrates what an institutional coordinator may make annually on up to the chief executive officer of either a college or a university. And the top salary range is roughly 144,000. And I'm going to tell you that is probably an average here these days. Many of your presidents, CEOs of universities and colleges make, $250,000 or more per year. So I would say that's probably maybe not even an average, is probably the low end of the scale, if you will. So before we leave the slide, even though we're sharing with you here what a person could anticipate earning in the field of academics with a Doctorate of Education degree, many of our graduates who have their Doctorate of Education degree are doing amazing things both in business and industry, and certainly in the healthcare field as well. So you find our graduates everywhere, in every field and every industry. Because guess what? Every field and every industry really does appreciate that broad thinking, problem solving skills, great leadership skills that students acquire as being part of our Doctorate of Education program. So I'd like to ask Erin, if you would go ahead on this next slide, share a bit with our group about the graduation teams and so forth.
Sure. One of the things that makes NAU very unique is our success teams. And the success team is collaboration between our three main student-facing departments. That includes admissions, finance, and success coaches. These three groups work together collectively to help a student with all of their different needs. So each student that attends with NAU is provided an enrollment counselor, a success coach, and a finance counselor to guide them from the time they start the program with NAU until the time they graduate. Those staff members don't change, and students have direct access phone numbers and emails for those individuals to assure that they're available and able to help at all times. So again, one of the most unique things about the university is the success team, and just that helping hand whenever you need it, whether it's a technology issue or you need to get in touch with an instructor or you have questions about any kind of research that you're doing, they're there to guide you through that way. And then as we look into expert faculty, I've been with NAU, like I said, for a little over 10 years, and we have put a large emphasis on this, especially as it pertains to the EDD program. We'll get into that a little bit further on as we review highlight some of the faculty members that are part of the NAU bunch, but we have some of the best. You're going to see ex-community college presidents, you will see department chairs, you will see deans. So the best of the best is who is leading this program in terms of faculty. Anything to add to that, Dr. Moore?
Oh, yes. Well, just a few things. But first of all, Erin, I'd like to really take this moment to thank you for all of your hard work at NAU, and to thank you for leading such a successful success team for NAU. They do a wonderful job. They communicate with all of us administrators. They're so good to communicate with our faculty members. And you know what? It takes all of us to ensure the success of our students, particularly in this day and age and in the online environment. So just wanted to tell you once again, I brag about you all the time, but just to tell you once again, thank you for your hard work in supporting and developing and taking good care of our success team, so that way they can help ensure the success of our students. So a little bit more about the leadership skills. Let's go to that next slide. This is a very, very interesting slide here. It shares with our viewers just a bit about some of the types of skills our students learn and further refine as they go through our Doctorate of Education program. Now, certainly our students go through the program as a member of a cohort, and we'll speak about that just a little bit more later. But our students learn all about emerging issues in both education as well as our social environment, our economic environment in our country. And as we know, that is changing as quickly as we can speak. And a lot of opportunities to develop, to participate in leadership and guide others towards successful goals. So our students learn comprehensive problem-solving skills. They learn to communicate in a professional manner, both oral presentations, written presentations, and at the end of the day, communication is very key. Now, of course, we communicate a lot in the online environment. We communicate in so many different ways, social channels and so forth. Communication is so dynamic nowadays. So being proficient in all of these types of educational methods and means is very, very important. Being proficient and being very, very professional is very important. These are just a few of the skills that our students do learn in this program. So let's go to the next slide and look at more of an overview of the Doctorate of Education program. So if you look up there in the top left-hand corner, you'll see the piece on specializations. We'll talk about the breakdown of the program of study in just a few minutes, but I wanted to share with you, we do have a very robust specialization in community college leadership. This particular specialization is designed for professionals who are either currently serving in a community college or aspire to serve as either administrator, maybe even the president like Dr. Shape, or a faculty member in a community college. The specialization that we have added this year for the fall is a specialization in educational leadership. This specialization is geared more towards the practitioner who is not in a college or a university type setting. This one is geared for practitioners who work in just about every business, institutional, or field. Let me give you a couple of examples. We have Doctorate of Education graduates who serve in different companies, some actually Fortune 500 companies, who work hand in hand with the HR department to ensure that all of those employees for the organization are well trained and that they hit their compliance measures on training. So that's just one example. Of course, in the healthcare field, you have practitioners who also want to train others in the healthcare field or be administrators. Again, you go back to those basic skills of being able to problem solve, leading teams through change, all of these types of things. These are the skills that you learn in this program, and they are highly valued by business and industry, certainly in the healthcare industry, far beyond just the world of academia. So that's an important piece. Also wanted to share with you, this is a 3-year program. We'll talk more about what's involved in those 3 years of study in just a moment. We also wanted to let you know that there is a dissertation that's involved. We'll talk more about that in a few minutes. Also wanted to let you know that we have many students who work full-time while going through this program of study, and they always want to know, you know, what kind of commitment am I going to have to make during the week, you know? Well, our learning environment is very, very dynamic. We spend some good time on Zoom sessions, and a student should really expect to spend probably, I'd say maybe 5 to 6 hours on a Saturday per term, committed to the program for in-depth discussions in the class and also for some of their presentations. So let's see, we'll talk a little bit more about enrollment a little bit later. I did mention that students are required to work in a cohort type model. the benefit of that is students get to work as a group. They get to learn together as a group, share information, share experiences, both with each other and the faculty member, and they get to grow with the group. So in the past, and we still have cohorts operating right now today, and our graduates who were all involved in their cohorts find that the networking opportunities and the friendships, both personal and professional, that they make as being part of those cohorts are absolutely invaluable. So let's go ahead and look at those 3 years of study and really what that involves. Okay, so the writing on this page is really kind of small, hard to read, but as Lauren shared with you earlier, you're welcome to a copy of this PowerPoint so that way you can see the detail that's listed here. So if you look over in the far left-handed column, you'll see the first year of study. That is primarily the core classes of this program. All of the students in the core cohort take those core classes together within their cohort. So that's really the first year of study. The second year of study, which is the column in the center, is where students break out into their specialization courses. And I shared with you just a moment ago our 2 specializations that we're offering currently. So that's primarily the work in the second year. Now, since students will be broken out into 2 specializations, the students should expect to be in specialization courses with some of their cohort members, but maybe not all of them, because again, students get to choose which specialization they prefer. In the third year, which is the right-hand column, students will actually work to develop and complete their dissertations in that third year. And one question that we always have when we do these webinars is students want to know, wow, you know, we're a little bit hesitant about this dissertation piece. We've never done this before. Rest assured that our program is designed to help students understand and to think about that dissertation from the very, very beginning. Year 1, when students are in their core courses, there's discussion about their dissertation. They're planning for the dissertation. This goes on through year 2, so that way students are well prepared. By the time they begin year 3, they're not only well prepared, but they're actually anxious to get into that dissertation process. So let's look on the next slide and we can talk just a little bit more about the dissertation. So the dissertation is designed to meet certain goals. It's designed for you as an individual and as a professional to meet certain goals. But the most important thing about this dissertation, and I want you to remember this when you leave this webinar today, is that that dissertation is yours and yours only. And think for just a moment about having the opportunity to do a research project that's just yours, that has just your name on it, along with your committee members, for eternity, and that you have the opportunity to do research that it's going to inform the world on your specific topic. So it's not only fun, but it's your body of work that is grounded in your personal and professional interest, and it's there forever and ever. So you can even Google mine if you'd like to on the internet. It's been there for many years, and I have to tell you, my sons get a charge out of Googling it from time to time. So it's a very rewarding piece. It's a bit of work, certainly is, but we have a system, a structure, and the professionals to guide you through it. So that way you're successful and you end up with a product that you're so, so proud of for many, many years to come. So let's go on to that next slide. All right, so I just mentioned about some of the professionals that help guide you through the dissertation process and the professionals that teach our classes. I wanted to let you know that over the period of time that NAU has had the Doctorate of Education, we have built a group of more than 94 professionals nationwide who serve as faculty members, guest speakers, and dissertation committee chairs and members for our Doctorate of Education program. I wanted to share today, I don't have time to share the bios of all 94 with you. Well, I'd love to do that. I know you'd be interested in meeting them. I wanted to at least share with you today these three. So on the far left, you have Dr. Tyson McMillan, who has served NAU as both a faculty member, as a cohort coordinator, and as a dissertation committee member for quite a few years. That's Dr. Tyson on the far left. We have Dr. Mary Fifield in the center. She is one of our faculty members and has been with the program since the very first year of the program. She serves as a faculty member as well as dissertation committee chairs and members on quite a few different committees. Then on the far right, you have Dr. Michael McCall. He too has been a faculty member at National American University in the Doctorate of Education program since its beginning. And he serves on many dissertation committees as well. And all three of these faculty members have great networking and far reach nationwide. So these three particularly love to bring in guest speakers from business and industry, academia, from healthcare, from all over. So wanted to particularly share these three with you. These all of our faculty at National American University believe in being accessible and responsive to our students. You know, it doesn't matter how great the program is or great the content is. It's all about faculty and us administrators, and just like Aaron and his team of success coaches and so forth, we believe in being accessible and responsive to our students. So let's look at the next slide. So I've shared with you a bit about the program, kind of the highlights, if you will. Erin, if you would, go ahead and share with our group today more about what it takes to be considered for admission for the Doctorate of Education.
Thank you, Dr. Moore. So there will be an enrollment counselor that would assist you all the way through this process of getting through the admissions requirements here at NAU. To be approved to enter the Doctoral of Education program, there are just some simple things that you'll need. The first is a master's degree or higher, and a 3.0 in that master's degree on a GPA of a 4.0 scale. Second, you'll need approval from the doctoral program admissions committee, which will happen after you turn in all of the documents needed to get through the admissions process. 3 years of work experience or a letter of recommendation from a professional. And then one of the key components, which Dr. Moore has touched on several times in this, is the cohort, being a part of that cohort. And I think that you'll find students, that any student's ever been through a cohort model, end it with a much stronger relationship, better connections, and just a better place in terms of networking. A professional statement or a professional goal, up to 500 words, resume, and then obviously we'll help you with collecting your transcripts and completing the online application. So we've streamlined this as much as we possibly can. And again, you'll have a success coach, a finance counselor, an enrollment counselor, all the way through this process to assist you with any of your needs, questions, or concerns. Anything to add to that, Dr. Moore?
Oh, perfect, Aaron. So now that you know basically how the admission process works, would like to also share with you that Our current students that are in the program, as well as our graduates, love to mentor students. So if we go to the next slide, I'd like to introduce to you Dr. Sharice Breedham Balan. She is one of our graduates who graduated this past spring, and she serves a community college in New Jersey. So we have graduates honestly spread all over across the nation, and they very, very much make themselves available and to encourage new students and to mentor new students. They really enjoy doing this. And of course, she's provided us with many quotes in the past, but one here is her favorite. She says, National American University and the Doctor of Education program gave me the tools and preparations I need to become a leader. And she is a great leader. She's a wonderful faculty member. She works hard for Passaic County in New Jersey, and she's just one of our very, very delightful graduates of this program. So we'll go on to the next slide. So I shared with you about Dr. Sharice Breedham Balan. Wanted to also share with you once again that our graduates work in all types of fields, all types of industries and business. There's some examples here, of course. There's some examples here of some of our grads' jobs in academia, some in the healthcare industry, and also, of course, some in business and industry, including Disney Corporation, of course. So it's, you know, Doctorate of Education, degreed leaders, you will find most everywhere nowadays. It's just not uncommon. And guess what? As I shared with you just a little bit earlier, the president and CEO of National American University, Dr. Ron Shape, while he loves accounting, that is his first love, he did work to earn his Doctorate of Education so that way he could serve as president of National American University. And we'll go on to the next slide. So Aaron, if you would please share with the group a little bit more about tuition and financial aid and those opportunities, please.
Yeah, so great news about tuition. We just dropped tuition from $1,000 per credit hour down to $800. In a time in which we see the United States and the rest of the world struggling with COVID and other issues, NAU has taken a strong stand to do its best for students and have actually reduced tuition across the board at all of our degree levels, including the doctoral program, which reduced the total cost of the program significantly. There are a number of ways to finance your education. Obviously, we will help you with Title IV funding if you're looking for student loans. I would encourage you all to look and work with your current employer to see if any company tuition assistance is available. And also the finance counselor will also help you understand what additional loans or scholarships may be available to help you in funding your degree. And so you'll have a finance counselor designated specifically to you that you'll work with on all these items. To help you with any questions, concerns, or ideas around funding and finding something that's affordable, going to get you into the degree that you want without a large amount of student loans.
Very good. Thank you, Aaron. And Aaron, thank you so much for serving as a wonderful co-host today. We're about towards the end of our formal presentation today, but I know, Lauren, you probably have maybe some questions from our group that are attending today.
Yes, so far we have received a few. The first one being, what does the approval process with the doctoral program committee look like?
So the approval process, great question, thank you. What Aaron does is he works with his enrollment group and helps compile all of the documentation that the committee needs to review. So transcripts, the short professional goal statement that we ask that applicants provide, and also their work experience or the letter of recommendation that they provide. So these are the pieces that we're looking at, particularly after the committee reviews those documents, if you will. Then the committee generally asks me to go ahead and have a one-on-one short Zoom session, if at all possible, to meet with the applicant, to get to know them just a little bit better. And then the committee convenes again and makes recommendations on who we accept into the program. So it sounds like a lengthy process. It's basically collect the information that Erin was sharing with you all just a few minutes ago. And we do a review, then we speak to you to get to know you just a little bit better, and then the decision is made. So the process can overall happen as soon as the documents are in. We're pretty quick and we do a real good job communicating with each other in this online environment. So I can tell you that generally within a week, we can let an applicant know if they've been accepted or not.
And we have another question. At what stage do you need to take the GRE exam?
Oh, that's great. Guess what? It is not required. I have to tell you that I had to take it years ago. It was not my most fun experience, as you might expect. You know, while many institutions used to require a GRE test score, National American University, for our EDD program, we do not require that piece, and more other institutions are not requiring it. So we don't require it. It's not something that you'd have to worry about for National American University.
All right, and another one we have is, with a cohort model, what would I do if I had a life-changing event during the program? Would I be able to step away and then return to the program?
You know, that's a great question also. And really and truly, life happens. The unexpected happens, and sometimes students have to step away for a period of time. We've had this happen in the past. We've had, unfortunately, some students who have had deaths in their family. Their spouse maybe has passed away due to an accident. And we work closely with those students to let them know that we can suspend exactly where they are, and then we work them right back into the program. So, you know, they don't miss anything, but we work hand in hand with students because at the end of the day, the student is our focus. Taking care of them and ensuring that they are in a place where they can be productive in a dynamic working and studying and learning environment, you know, that's the most important thing. So we work with each student individually on a case-by-case basis. And again, you know, it's happened where they have to step away, you know, maybe for a term, maybe for a year, and then we merge them right back in. So it's worked very well so far. Hopefully it never happens, but unfortunately, if it does, we take care of it.
And we have another question. In doing research, it has been said that there is a difference between the EDD and the PhD. Is it correct to say that the EDD is geared towards those with prior education experience and the PhD is for those who do not?
Well, not necessarily. Here's the primary difference, and it's a great question. I'm so glad you brought it up. The primary difference in a PhD and an EDD is that a PhD is a research degree. I can tell you that I went through a PhD at the University of Texas. It was a 94 credit hour experience. It was heavily grounded in research, research methods, research theories, far more far more terms of research than I probably will ever use in my entire life. So a PhD is very much a research researcher's degree, if you will. The EDD is far more of a practitioner's degree. Instead of being heavily focused on research, the EDD is focused on developing the practitioner, developing them as a leader, refining their skills, helping develop skills that maybe they don't come into the program with, and helping them to be the best leader and the best practitioner in their field of study possible. So totally different focus of these two degrees. So very, very good question. One very much focused on research. The other one is focused on the practitioner and developing and refining those great leadership skills that every industry needs now, particularly.
Alrighty, well, with that, we will wrap up this session. Thank you again to Dr. Moore and Aaron for this informative presentation. And to everybody that joined today, watch your email for a recording of today's session. If you are curious about what other degree and certificate programs National American University offers, we encourage you to check out our website at national.edu for all of the options and information. And to stay up to date with NAU and Hindley Putnam School of Strategic Security, find us on all major social networking sites. Thank you again for joining us today, and don't forget to reach out to us if you have more questions or want to get started. Thank you, everyone.